I was going to say that is. Welcome back to our next leg of our race around the world
Whoop.
here at the Pitstop Pals, part of the Reality Realm Network. My name is Kevin Oliver, one of your co-hosts, and this is.
My name is Bruce Heller. I'm just some guy that stumbled in front of the computer.
It's crazy. It's crazy how that works. But here we are for another week of Pit Stop Pals, and we are excited to let you guys know that this is recap episode number one of our next rewatch, which is
Yeah!
season seven of The Amazing Race. We are staying on, wow, you can count. We are staying on this former Survivor players um, theme with our season rewatches, with our last one being season 25 with Keith and Whitney.
Which
Now we have Rob and Amber.
which wasn't entirely intentional this
It
time.
was not. The
We wanted
unpaid intern wanted us to stick with the
yeah.
theme.
So peek behind the curtain. We decided we wanted to do a really early season so we can kind of compare it to 25 and our moderner seasons and see how the game has changed.
And it
And
has.
I went to our AI intern, ChatGPT, and said, and he works for the whole network, by the way, not just our show. Well, at least tribal councils. I don't know if New Generation Challengers utilizes his services, but he's
But
available.
he's available. He's available to them.
But the thing is, I said, hey, Kevin wants you to pick a season 1 through 9. I literally typed that. It doesn't make a difference if I could have just said pick a number. But
He
anyway,
he did type that. He sent me the screenshot.
our AI intern gave us the number 7. And this is a season I've watched before, back in either 2020, probably 2021, during the
The only
show.
the only pre-31 season that Bruce had watched prior to the start of this podcast.
Well, I had started season 1 and stopped apparently. My mom and I are watching season 1 just on ourselves before I move, and I
Yeah.
remembered a few of the teams, and I remembered a team on there that I don't like. So,
Okay.
but I'll save that
We'll get
again.
there one day.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
we're
gonna save that thought until we watch that season. But I will tell you when we're not recording.
sounds good. Um so you mentioned this idea that we wanted to kind of compare and contrast, and I would argue that the game has drastically changed.
Oh yeah, and like they're full length episodes now. I mentioned my mom and I started watching season 1. It's even changed from 1 to 7 because 1 was like half-hour episodes, I think.
Oh yeah.
So it's
And
changed.
and this premiere was an hour and a half, and I did not realize that when I got ready to watch it.
Yeah, I did. I didn't know that either. I was
And
watching it last night before bed.
then I pulled it up on my Paramount Plus this morning, and it said an hour and 27. I said, "Oh, well, Bruce, it looks like it's going to be closer to the 11 than 10:30 time."
Yeah, very fun episode though. I love anything that Rob or Amber or both of them is on. So this is going to be fun for me.
Definitely. But what I wanted to say before we started was I've definitely noticed that in this old time, and I have watched these seasons before, but it's been years, right? In this old version of The Amazing Race, it almost seems like travel is way more highlighted, to where competition is way more highlighted in the modern day of Amazing Race.
Yeah, for sure. You look at 25 and like the travel agents and stuff were important,
Mm-hmm.
but not like game changing. Whereas you look at like season 7, we have the 2 flights going to Peru and like the rush to figure out which one to get on, and the one's full, but the one that leaves later arrives in Peru sooner somehow.
And then we even get on a second flight in this episode,
Yeah.
and there was a delay. It's a whole thing. And then I think back to like the first season uh, post COVID of Amazing Race here, and we didn't even see the airports. They were um,
Yeah.
private charters for the Amazing Race contestants only.
It's
And
still
so,
that
like,
way, isn't it?
what? No,
Isn't it still that way?
they're back in the airport. It's just, yeah, they're back in the airport now.
Oh, but they're not like, are they getting like their own flights and stuff now like
They
they
are. They are.
okay. I missed that on the last season then, because the last few seasons have been like, oh, we'll all go together, but you leave at staggered times.
Right.
and that's just kind
Um,
of fun.
right. Yeah, we saw a couple airport scenes in 35. I don't know that we necessarily saw much in 36, but 36 filmed before 35. So
Oh,
35 is technically our newest filmed season. Um,
bring the
plus it,
beard back from 35.
what's that?
Bring the beard guys back from 35 that went to the finish.
They were really there was a lot of really good teams in 35. That's for sure. Wow, good job. Okay, anyway, let's hop in here to episode 1 of the Amazing Race season 7, where they got started in Port Mary Harbor, Long Beach, California.
Yeah, this is a change of pace from our last season that started in Times Square.
Yes, for sure. And before we talk about things that actually happened in this episode, I want to go through the contestants and kind of get your first impressions, is if that's okay, Bruce.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna bring somebody up, and then we're gonna talk about them. Bringing somebody up, we're gonna talk about them. That's how we're gonna do this. So the first people they introduced, they dropped everybody off in helicopters, which is pretty sweet too. The first team was Debbie and Bianca, lifelong friends from Virginia.
They
What'd
seem
you think?
really fun. That's what I wrote down from their little intro. I had a little like sentence or saying or note for each intro package. Debbie and Bianca seem fun. They are lifelong friends.
Mm,
They had a strong episode this week too. So
absolutely. Yeah, I thought that uh, they looked fun from the beginning, and like you said, they did have an absolutely strong episode that we'll get into later. I have some opinions about them that we'll talk about later as well. The second team that they introduced was Lynn and Alex. They were the boyfriends from West Hollywood, California. What'd you think, Bruce?
I didn't have a ton to go on from the intro package. These aren't super long, but
Yeah.
on the intro, I just wrote that they seem kind of catty for some reason. I don't know. I hope I'm wrong, but
Well,
I didn't love the first vibe I got from them.
they actually made me laugh, dude. And when you say caddy, well, can you get? They literally said they were going to scratch the other team's eyes out when they
Yeah,
weren't looking.
yeah.
I mean, so literal cats. That was pretty. I think that needs to be your thumbnail for this week.
I
Um,
need a gif of that. Just me.
the third group was Rob and Amber from Survivor, engaged.
I just put I love them both so much. Like our listeners know me. They know I love Rob. They know I love the two of them. So I don't really have a ton more to say here. I'm excited to
Well,
see them on my TV again.
well, while we are on this for a moment, I guess I'll I've never I've been on multiple episodes of Tribal Council Chat,
Yeah.
but I have never publicly placed claim on where I stand on either of these Survivor winners before. That
Well,
being said, I love Amber. Uh, she is one of my favorite females to ever play Survivor. Um, and in terms of chronological order, um, the first I would say Survivor crush I ever had. Um, that being said, I am, unlike you and Brett, not a huge Boston Rob fan.
that's fair, and I knew that. You've told me that before. Uh,
I don't hate on him like some people do.
you're
I
not one
don't.
of the 22 was completely rigged for him, people.
I'm not one of those people, but I am one of those people that say 22 sucks as a season. Um,
I think I'd agree with you if it wasn't for him. He makes seasons better for me.
Redemption Island is my least favorite season of Survivor ever.
That's crazy because Thailand exists.
Let me see where I had Thailand while we're here.
It's too high already because I know it's not last.
It is third to last.
Except I will give Thailand credit for two things. One tribe somehow lost their entire boat overnight, and the auction was done as in like full tribes pre-merge. So there's two interesting things from Thailand. Three, Xi'an. Okay. Other than that,
No, hey. Shan's not even the most interesting person from Thailand.
that's not a fun season for me. I did not enjoy it.
I love Jan Gentry.
Okay.
Um,
Rob Zabachnik.
yes.
Come back.
Jake Billingsley, great character.
Gosh, that season.
But what my whole point here is you're frozen, Bruce. Why are you frozen?
No, I'm not.
Yeah, you are.
Not on my screen. I'm not. I'm shaking my head. Oh, you went away. There you
There,
are.
there. We good now?
Can you?
What, what? Okay, I see you now, Bruce. You don't have to shake your head anymore.
I was
Okay.
doing it for like from you said I was frozen forward. So my head's confused now.
Yeah, but Thailand is my third least favorite season. Not as bad as you make it out to sound. Redemption Island's my least favorite season, not because of Rob, but because of literally almost everybody else besides Andrea and Philip Shepard and Matt Elrod. Um, anyway, I don't hate Rob. I don't love Rob. He is in the middle of the pack on my Survivor winner rankings, right around that 18 spot. Um, but I'm excited to watch their amazing race journey.
I will point out while we're on Rob, at some point in this episode, someone said something along the lines of, "Oh, I watched him on Survivor. He can barely form a sentence. He's dumb as a box of rocks." I'm like, did you really watch All Stars then? Because if you had, you would see how like smart and strategic he is. How do you watch him on Survivor and come away with he's dumb?
I agree.
I
And I have that quote written down when we get to quotes, but
yeah,
it
that
was
annoyed
Patrick.
me.
It was Patrick. And I don't, yeah.
Yeah, that's something.
Uh-huh. Okay. On to the next team, Ryan and Chuck. What do you think?
Ryan and Chuck, they're best friends. They're gonna be entertaining. They seem fun.
Yeah. I have a note down here that Ryan and Chuck are going to be confessional beasts.
Are they the hillbilly ones?
They are. They are so funny.
I also, as soon as I saw them, like, oh, I think Kev's gonna like them. Honestly, like,
I wrote down best friends West Virginia, good old boys, and they called themselves the two old fat fellas.
yeah,
So uh,
they're
I
fun.
absolutely adore Ryan and Chuck.
They're fun for sure. I like them.
After them, we get Megan and Heidi, two roommates from Oak Park, California.
I thought it was Oak Park, Illinois. I thought it was like near Chicago.
No.
Oh, well, there is an Oak Park over by Chicago, I think. Oh well. Yeah, I don't
Is
know what
there?
to think of them.
It's a village.
I don't know what to think of them. They seem fun, but are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
Sorry, I was looking at Oak Park, Illinois. Um,
Hey, I was right.
it's a village in Chicago. Yeah.
But
Um,
they seem fun. I don't really. Again, we don't get a ton from this package, but I'm optimistic about them.
there's a quote I have about them that I'll mention in just a little bit. That makes me laugh. But yeah, they seemed like a lively couple of people.
Someone called one of the teams called them the Barbie twins at one point, and that made me laugh.
I got an even funnier name that somebody called them. After that, we have Susan and Patrick. They are the mom and son from Ohio. Patrick is he called himself the gay guy, and he told us that they looked all sweet and innocent, but they were devious.
I like them maybe with a question mark, and then right after that wrote they seem cutthroat.
They do very much so, and I think we see that throughout this episode.
Yeah.
After them, we get Meredith and Gretchen, married retirees from Maryland, and in all caps, I put old.
I wrote my parentheses was adorable.
Yeah,
I don't know what. They're just adorable to me for some reason. I can't explain it.
they're old. That might have something to do with it.
They're this like cute old married couple that's just there for the ride and they love each other so much. And I like them. They're fun.
Yeah, they are absolutely.
They're not gonna last very long, I don't think, but I don't remember a ton. I remember the top few placers. I don't remember a ton of like who goes home each specific week.
That's fair. That being said, Bruce, you got to treat this like I have been.
Yeah, I
You
will.
can't you can't go off what you know. You got to go off how you feel now.
Yeah, of course. Which it kind of helps that I don't really remember any of the placements other than the top two. So
Right. Um, After them, we get Brian and Greg. They are brothers from Los Angeles, California.
yeah, I
What
am
the heck
happy to
was it?
see them. If you've watched Big Bang Theory, Brian has a recurring role in that show as Zach, one of Penny's ex-boyfriends.
Really? Wow.
So I'm like, oh, that's that guy when I saw him. So I they're fun. I like them.
That's cool. I didn't know that. Yeah, I think that they're pretty solid. I think they're kind of meatheads, but we'll see how they do.
Yeah.
After that, we get Uchenna and Joyce, a married couple from Houston, Texas, who has had two failed in vitro fertilization pregnancies and wants to win $1 million so that they can get that baby they've always been dreaming of. What'd you think?
I like them a lot. They seem like they're gonna be really fun. They seem like they have a good chemistry and strong teamwork, so I'm excited about that.
Yeah, I just think they're sweet. They're like they're good. They're a good, wholesome couple.
Yeah, I like them a lot. That's
And
wholesome. That's another reason Meredith and Gretchen were adorable.
mhm. After that, we get Ron and Kelly. They are long distance boyfriends and girlfriends. Ron is a military veteran who was shot down from his aircraft and uh, became a prisoner of war for 23 days. And Kelly is a pageant queen.
They seem fun. I like this. The young dating couple thing. The one we had with 25, they were fun. The couple episodes they were in, these two seem fun. So I love their stories. I love his story. It's so cool.
Oh, absolutely incredible.
So
And then the final team that they introduced us to are Ray and Dina. They are an on and off again dating couple from Ohio.
oh boy. These two I wrote down from the intro package. They're gonna have chemistry problems. And we're already seeing it, I think.
Yeah. When I heard on again, off again, I automatically said, this makes me nervous.
On again, off again, but also for like 3 years. Like
3 years.
that's such a long time to be doing that.
Uh huh.
We'll see
And
how.
these are our 11 teams. And so it is time to jump in. And the first note I have here is nice turtleneck, Phil.
Yeah, Mr. Phil does have a turtleneck on. It's great. I love it.
Bruce, did you have any quotes for our quote segment before we get into what actually happened here in this episode?
I have a quote that you're gonna know who's even if like you didn't watch the episode and I said someone said this quote, you'd be able to pinpoint it because you know this person. We've got all of Peru working for us. Made me tell.
I also wrote that down.
Such a Rob line. He's cocky, but he's cocky in such an entertaining way to me. Like
But it's
it just makes
true.
me laugh when he says stuff like that. Like he's so arrogant, but he backs
But
it up.
but it was true.
Yeah, And then my
Yeah.
other two come from the zip line.
Okay.
We gotta sit here and wait for Fat Boy to come down. And right before that, we're gonna be the first ones to load test this thing.
I have a lot of quotes, so give me a second here. The
One.
first one was when I realized that Ryan and Chuck are confessional beasts. And I'm just going to say, for some of these, if it's like two people of the same sex, I don't know which one's which yet. So either Ryan or Chuck said this, and I'm not sure which one.
I'm that way with Brian and Greg.
Drive drive like you stole it, baby. When they were first getting in the car after they got their first clue.
That's great. I love that.
We also have. Here's where I told you that the Megan and Heidi had another name, and it was given by either Debbie or Bianca because I still don't know which one's which. Who did we pass? And then it's Big Something Beauties, and I could not figure out if it was Big Booty Beauties or Big Booby Beauties.
Either way, it's funny.
I couldn't figure out what she said, but it was one of those two things.
Another nickname for Megan and Heidi, fantastic drivers,
Oh yeah,
which we'll get to in a second, I'm sure. But
yeah. Here we had God darn it, and I put times 87 because Gretchen literally kept saying it over and over again every time something negative happened. This one is not funny, but it is quote. Um, there's a couple of these I actually have in here. It's when Susan, her eyes were being opened by seeing Lima, Peru, and she said that this is not the way that we are accustomed to living. And I think back to last season that we rewatched season 25 in Manila, Philippines, where these guys' eyes were being opened. How third world people live. Yes, Bruce, I see your hat.
I was just nodding along with what you were saying. I wasn't going to mention it.
I know, but I knew that you were wondering when I would mention it. I got.
You're not the only one that does mid-episode hat changes.
Well, you're gonna be the only one this week because I'm in the office.
Oh, nice.
We've got Olive Peru working for us. I do have that one, like you did. I also had another one that you quoted earlier. I've watched Survivor. He's dumb as a rock.
Just not even close to true. How do you watch that season and come away with that result?
Well, Patrick's an idiot.
Clearly. Shoot, Patrick.
Yeah. There was a quote from Ray that went along the same lines as that Susan thing earlier, where he said, "We got a foot tour of Lima, and there are a few things that bothered me." He said, "We're running around trying to win $1 million, and they're just out here trying to live."
Yeah,
that's deep, and those kind of realizations just stop me every time. It's beautiful.
It is. For sure.
Ryan and Chuck, beep 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 beep, as they're being wheeled around the city on their way to the sand.
It's great.
Beep 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 beep. This one from Greg and Brian. Is it 7 before 7:40? Where I grew up, yeah.
Yeah, that was it. That was something.
And then Rob, with the campfire, I thought we were back on Survivor for a second. I was worried about everyone plotting to kick me out. And they kind of were still plotting to kick him out.
Yeah. We already have teams saying they don't want them there.
And here's another Rob, when him and Amber were cheering on Debbie and Bianca. And then he says, "That's our good deed for the next 30 days.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Either Lynn or Alex, I'm not sure which one. Is that what we are jumping off of, talking about the gorge? Oh my God. Oh, it's like Splash Mountain. Whee!
Nothing like Splash Mountain, but okay. That was funny. I remember that actually.
And then Gretchen's getting on the zip line and she says, "Whoa, this is what the kids call wedgies."
Well, yeah,
Those are my quotes. I told you I had a lot.
that was fun.
That was fun. And so we are off from Long Beach, California. As Phil tells us his opening iconic line, the world is waiting for you. Good luck. Travel safe.
Go.
Go. And they grab the clue that is on their luggage. It tells them that they have to fly to Lima, Peru. They have $132 for this episode, and they have to get on one of two very specific flights. And so then they have to grab their clue, open it, look at it, and then they have to run and hop in a car and get going. We see Rob here that doesn't know how to open a trunk.
Yeah, what was with that?
What was with that whole thing? They were the last to leave by a mile. It was nuts. And this is when Ryan and Chuck say they need to drive like they stole it, and I realized they were going to be confessional beasts.
This is
And
also where Meredith and Gretchen almost get into a wreck on the road, isn't it?
not Meredith and Gretchen,
Not
buddy.
Meredith and Gretchen, Megan and Heidi. Sorry.
Megan and Heidi, they almost got in a wreck. And it was actually Heidi that almost got in the wreck. And so they decided to pull over so that Megan could drive. And when they pull over, Debbie and Bianca pass them, and that's when they call them big booby beauties or big booty beauties.
That's funny. Yeah.
We also get a confessional here from Ron and Kelly, where Kelly's saying that she wants to find out if they are meant to be together. And I wrote that I think the race could tell them that.
Yeah.
But from a strategy standpoint, as race competitors, I don't think it's a good idea to go on the race with even a secondary reason of, am I supposed to be with this person? I I think I would rather know that beforehand, because if I'm not supposed to be with this person, I don't want to be on the race with them. That's going to cause problems.
Yeah, for sure.
A lot of people they get to the airport, and a lot of people got off to check the American flight while Lynn and Alex stayed on to go to the United flight. Oh, I forgot a quote here, because Brian and Greg then call, in reference to Megan and Heidi, "You cute little pink butt." That yeah. And here we
episode title.
What?
I jokingly said hashtag episode title.
Cute little pink butt.
Yeah.
I'm not opposed. Here we find out that the American Airlines flight lands at 4:59 a.m., while the United flight lands at 6:45 a.m. So Lynn and Alex staying on the bus to go to United is not going to land in their favor. But by the way, the cute little pink butt thing is where I realized that Greg and Brian are meatheads.
You didn't realize that from their intro package?
No, it took me a little bit.
They're fun meatheads, though.
They are fun meatheads, but meatheads nonetheless.
I need those two to stay around for a while. They're great to watch.
They are. They're good. But anyway, the American Airlines people that got on that flight, because there was only 6 tickets for the American Airlines flight that was going to get there almost 2 hours ahead of the United flight, were Ron and Kelly, Ray and Dina, Megan and Heidi, Ryan and Chuck, Susan and Patrick, and Debbie and Bianca, while the United flight had Uchenna and Joyce, Greg and Brian, Lynn and Alex, Rob and Amber, and Meredith and Gretchen. And while they're in line here, I thought it was really cool. Ron was telling Ray his story about being a prisoner of war for 23 days and how if he wins the $1 million, he wants to donate it to disabled veterans. And so
That's awesome.
that's respect, mad respect for Ron and Kelly there. Now,
For
once they get what?
I said for sure.
Yeah. Once they get to Lima, Peru, they have to travel on a bus to this plaza. Um, and so they get on this bus, and we have Ron telling us that Lima looks like downtown Baghdad. Um, but they have to go to this plaza and get their next clue. Like I said, there's a lot of travel in this episode.
It is called the Plaza de Armas, by the way.
Okay, Plaza de Armas. That's the one I didn't get written down. But they
How dare you?
shut up.
Okay.
But they get their clue, and it tells them that they have to travel by bus 30 miles to Ancon. From there, they will head to Playa Hermano, where they will find their next plane tickets
And
in the
Playa
same.
Hermano is like the beach that they go to.
It is a beach.
Woohoo, beach day.
Here we see Debbie and Bianca working together with Susan and Patrick to find a bus to head to Ancon.
Funny thing about this, the girls seem gung ho about this alliance, but Susan seems to want to break off and do her own thing with Patrick.
Well,
We'll
Susan
watch
is,
for that dynamic.
yeah, I don't know why. I don't know why she would be against running with the other team in the lead. That doesn't make sense to me. But
Because she's Susan.
yeah, that's true. We also see here that Rob and Amber, when they got off the plane, they found a guy in customs who recognized them from Survivor and agreed to help them.
It's fantastic.
They have an incredible advantage because of that.
Yeah, it's fantastic. It's so funny that this happens.
Yeah, it was great. And so these teams, they had to get to Ancon or whatever by bus. Like Rob and Amber, they were able to get to make up a lot of time because this guy helped them convince the bus driver not to pick up anybody else on the bus.
It's
They would just
insane.
pay him a little extra for a direct drive straight there, and they saved a lot of time because they were in that second group. So they were in leaving the airport was seventh place,
Yeah.
and they caught up to third by the time they got to the beach.
And then later in the episode, everyone's like, "Oh, how did they make up so much ground?" This is why.
This is why, and we see it play or help them all the way through here because once they get to Ancon, then they have to get in these like little bicycle things where they sit in front and somebody pedals them around the city. They have to ride this thing all the way to the beach. And we see each team have to do this, and I got really confused because Ryan and Chuck at one point hopped out of theirs, ran alongside of it, and then hopped back in.
What was that exactly?
I don't know.
Huh.
I asked that question in my notes.
Yeah, I didn't know what to do with that. I'm just
No.
like, okay, this is funny. There's no reason to do this, but it's funny.
Yeah. And so what they have to do at the beach is they have to fly, they have to find their plane tickets in one of three piles of sand that have three different airplane departure times on them. But they have to fly to Cusco, Peru, the mountain region, to get their next clue. And so they have those three different piles. One of them's at 6, one's for 7, and one's for 740. And so obviously the first two teams got there way before anybody else, and they got their 6 a.m. flights locked down. That was Debbie and Bianca and Susan and Patrick. The third team that got there was Rob and Amber, but at the same right after Rob and Amber got there, Ray and Dina got there, and so they were kind of racing to catch that last number 6 ticket or 6 o'clock ticket that Rob and Amber got. So while Ray and Dina were trying to race Rob and Amber for that ticket, we see Heidi and Megan show up, and they just went to the next one and started digging the 7:40 flight time, not even checking to see what the time on the third one was.
Yeah.
For some reason, and so Ray and Dina weren't like that when they got beat by Robin Amber at that last 6 o'clock ticket. They checked the times, and so they went to the 7 o'clock pile and got theirs. While Heidi and Megan went for the 7:40, but they weren't the only ones to do that. As we see Ryan and Chuck and Ron and Kelly, the next two teams to show up, both do the same thing and just start digging at the closest sand pile.
Yeah.
Why would they do this? It doesn't make sense. And in fact, Meredith and Gretchen did the same thing later on.
Yeah, I didn't know what I was watching here. It was wild. This was an interesting challenge to me.
It really saved Joyce and you. It really saved you, Chinna and Joyce there because they were the last ones there, but they had a 7 o'clock flight ticket as the last team there, along with Greg and Brian and Lynn and Alex. But it didn't end up mattering because the 7 o'clock flight got delayed and they all got pushed onto the 7:40 flight.
Yeah.
We also see at this part that people do not want Rob and Amber to do well. Surprise, surprise.
Yeah. Is this where Patrick says we want them with us because we want to be personally responsible for their downfall?
This is not where, but he did say that later on, and I have that written down.
Like a Bond villain when he said that, like
for sure. We also find out that we can't trust Debbie and Bianca or Susan and Patrick because when Ron and Kelly showed up, they told him to go to the middle one, and so they didn't even go check the third time. They went to the middle one, and once it was too late, they realized that they got screwed over.
Yeah.
And we also see Ray and Ron have a bond here. We saw that in the airport. Now we see it when they're talking about how those other teams screwed them over. And so we don't really have anything else except for the fact that they have to spend the night on the beach because their flights don't leave till the next morning. And so we get some airport stuff here. But eventually they fly to the mountain region of, what did I say? Cusca. And evidently when you're in that mountain region, you feel lightheaded. They all had to drink this miracle tea, which was kind of weird, but
yeah,
whatever. We see every team have it. But they get off the flight. They get their next clue. It tells them that they have to travel 22 miles. Once again, travel a lot to Humbatio, Peru.
And get their next clue from our friend Philippe.
Yes. In a little shop.
They specified his name for some reason.
Felipe, not Philippe.
I thought Phil said Philippe. Rob said Felipe when he was reading it, but I thought Phil said Philippe.
Well, everybody else was calling him Felipe, so I guess Phil could have said Philippe.
I don't know. Close enough.
But I just want to say here, the mountains were freaking beautiful.
Very much so. Just like me.
Your mountains?
I'm beautiful.
Oh no, I know that can't be the truth. So you must be mountains. Um, and so they had to get their clue from Philippe, and it told them that they were going to have to go to this to the top of this gorge, where they were going to have to take 2 zip lines to the bottom. And this looks like a lot of fun.
It does.
I can't believe that you said that. You don't like heights.
Yeah, well, if I'm strapped to something, I'll just be holding onto the harness while I'm going. It'll be fine.
Okay.
If I
Sweet.
plummet to my death, I get to meet Jesus sooner. That's also a win.
Amen.
So
And
I
so
no
nobody
matter
really had
what.
a problem. What?
I win no matter what. Either I have a
Amen.
fun zip line or I get to go to heaven. Like,
Or both.
fair enough.
You have a fun zip line and then you die. Um, and so nobody really had a problem with this. They all got to the bottom just fine. And they got their next clue, which tells us about the detour of the episode. Rope a llama or rope a basket.
I
And so
love
basically,
watching the llama thing. It reminded me of the sheep thing from our last rewatch.
oh yeah. But
But
nobody got hurt this time.
but the llamas are more stubborn and listen less somehow. So and
That's
stronger.
true. But at least you have a rope around the llama.
Yeah, true.
So basically, you had rope a llama was you have to rope 2 llamas from the field, haul them over, take them into a pen. Um, and Phil highlighted that this one is the less endurance task, but llamas are stubborn, and so it might take longer. The other one was rope a basket, where you had to tie a basket to your back and carry it 2/3 of a mile, where it's filled with 35 pounds of alfalfa. And so this one requires more strength, but if you are strong and are good with endurance, then you could get this done a lot quicker. And here's the breakdown as to who went on which one. We had Patrick and Susan do the llama. Debbie and Bianca started with the llama, but they switched over to the baskets. Meredith and Gretchen did the llama. Uchenna and Joyce did the llama. And Ryan and Chuck did the llama. Baskets were Rob and Amber, eventually Debbie and Bianca, Alex and Lynn, Greg and Brian, Ray and Dina, Ron and Kelly, and Megan and Heidi. And it was here where Debbie and Bianca were doing the llamas that I decided that I am not a fan of Debbie and Bianca, because Debbie was really annoying me and pissing me off with how scared and negative she was being about these stinking llamas.
I had already kind of decided I didn't like them when at the beach when they're like, "Hey, go to this pile," knowing it was the wrong pile.
Right.
The llamas and them struggling so bad on the llamas and fussing at each other just kind of solidified that for me.
Yeah, it was really annoying. But they end up switching, and it actually worked out in their favor, I'd say.
By the way, you used this word stubborn to describe the llamas. What is that? I'm not familiar with that. It doesn't apply to me at all.
Yeah, it's 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 something that applies to you in a great deal, and
Okay.
you would know that if you knew what it was. But I guess you don't.
Thinking
Do you want
more.
me to teach you? I have a dictionary right here. It's called my computer. Having or showing dogged determination not to change one's attitude or position on something, especially in spite of good arguments or reasons to do so.
Huh. I'm not familiar with this concept. Oh well.
That's because you're stubborn.
No, I'm not. I'm not stubborn, and you can't convince me that I am.
Well, we'll just let the audience do that for us.
Oh, I'm gonna be getting a YouTube comment from my mother when this releases, for sure. Section. And it's hard to be serious and pretend to be upset while I'm wearing a Disney World chipmunk hat. So
Is that Chip or Dale?
it's Dale. I went to Disney World when I was 8, and they told us the way you can tell them apart is that Chip's nose is black like a chocolate chip.
Oh, okay.
This one's red, so it's Dale.
Okay. Good to know.
I'm
Um,
totally not pretending to pick my chipmunk's hat's nose right now.
even though the chipmunk nose doesn't have nostrils.
Yeah,
Um,
my finger into it.
but once they finish their detour, they have to go to the Humbadio police station where they have to take a delivery truck for another 20 miles to Pasauk Market where they have to search the marketplace for their next clue. Um, and this was crazy all over the place at this time because we had people that were doing the detour. We had people who hadn't even got to the gorge yet. It was nuts. It was like there was so much parody from the beginning of the group
Yeah.
and the end of the group. But also here, Ray made me mad on the detour because he kept telling Dina to suck it up when she literally couldn't breathe because the freaking rope on the basket was choking her. Like, shut up, dude.
I
She
don't.
literally can't
Yeah,
breathe. What?
I'm not a fan of his at all, actually.
No, me either. I thought I liked him for a little bit at the beginning, but then he did that and I was out. This is where something you mentioned earlier happened, though. As Patrick and uh, Amber and Patrick and Susan and Amber and Rob got on the same delivery truck, and Patrick informs us that he wants to make it look like they're working with Amber and Rob, just to set a trap because they want to be the ones personally responsible for. This was a weird wording. He said for their disposal.
I, I don't know what to do with Patrick.
I can't stand Patrick.
His mom seems nice,
Not really, but
nicer than him.
sure, we'll go with that.
All I got.
So they go and they get their clue from the marketplace, and their clue just tells them that they got to take the 20 minutes back to Cusco to find the Lamoset 300-plus-year-old church that is the pit stop for the first leg of season 7 of The Amazing Race. And Lynn and Alex, one of them was holding a sheep in the back of this delivery truck. Did you see that?
I missed that.
I was so confused. Just holding this sheep. It was quite the time.
I mean, you're in the truck anyway. The sheep is there. May as well hold it. Have some
I,
fun.
I guess. And there was also a traffic jam here, and Susan was getting upset. And if you didn't like Patrick before, I really don't like him now because he told his mom, stop whining, just because she was mad that there was a traffic jam.
Yeah, there.
But good for Susan because she said, don't tell me what to do. Stand up to that fool.
I pity the fool.
I don't pity that fool.
No, but Mr. T.
I know. I know what you're doing.
Mr. T should open a line of like he should sell tea like the drink, like sweet tea, unsweet tea, maybe little bags of for hot tea. Mr. T's tea. He could put his little face on it. You know.
Oh, Bruce.
When I was younger, I remember World of Warcraft commercials where they had a Mr. T grenade where it would go off and it like give you his haircut or whatever.
That's cool.
Put his face on the box or on the bottle of Mr. T's tea.
Does it give you his haircut
I don't know,
if you
but
drink it?
Mr. T's tea. This needs to happen. I'm going to write him a letter.
All right, you do that.
All the letter's gonna say is start selling tea.
I don't think he's going to hire you to be his marketing manager if that's all you tell him.
Well, it has to be his idea. He has to want to do it. I can't force him to do it.
But you can put the idea in his head
Which is what I'm doing. Or
in
I
a more
don't even tell
convincing
him to
way.
sell tea. I just Send him a little post-it note in the mail that says Mr. T's T on it with no context.
Yeah, and while you're at it, why don't you send Adam and Bethany a picture of them surfing on one surfboard?
I d- it's finally off my desk. I don't know what happened to it, but it's not on my desk right now. So
That's bad. Okay. Well, here we also see Rob and Amber who were stuck behind this vehicle. They literally got out and pushed the vehicle out of the way so they could get going. That is some smart gameplay.
yeah.
And that was while they were racing to the finish line. Um, Bruce. Um, as they were racing to the finish line. Because now here we have everybody racing to the finish line. And you think it was weird. You think it's going to be between Susan and Patrick and Rob and Amber for who's going to get first place. And then all of a sudden it's Debbie and Bianca.
Yeah, what the heck?
I was like, that was super fake out.
Yeah.
They finished team number one, winning $10,000 each.
Yeah, no travel reward this time. No, like, free Travelocity, you're going to Guadalajara or whatever.
Nope, not this leg. Coming in second place, we have Susan and Patrick. Followed up by them is Rob and Amber. In fourth place, we have the Meatheads, Greg and Brian. And after them in fifth place, we have Lynn and Alex. And then at that point, after those five come in, we shoot back to the people at the end of the line here trying to find their marketplace clue. We had saw that Ray had told Uchenna and Joyce that they wanted to work with them to find the clue. They wanted to stay together. But they found it way before Uchenna and Joyce and just left them.
Yeah, they did. You're right.
Yeah, they ditched them.
Not very nice.
Not very nice. To be fair, though, they did try to holler their name. But
try hard enough.
But they left. And then we shoot back to the pit stop where somehow our old wholesome couple, Meredith and Gretchen, come in sixth place.
They're adorable.
Ray and Dina in seventh. Uchenna and Joyce in eighth.
Ray and Dina slightly less adorable. As in not at all.
And then we are down to the last three teams racing for the final spot. We have Ron and Kelly, Megan and Heidi, and Ryan and Chuck. And let me tell you, Ron and Kelly's taxi is a moving. They passed everybody. And then we see Megan and Heidi pass Ryan and Chuck as well.
Yeah.
At the pit stop, we don't know what's happening. They're all getting out about the same time. We see Ron and Kelly having a hard time finding the place. Then we have Megan and Heidi coming in ninth place. And I was not thrilled by that. But it is what it is. We have Ron and Kelly in 10th. And that means that Ryan and Chuck, our good old boys from West Virginia, the two fat fellas, are eliminated in 11th place. And I put no with like 7 O's. I was so sad. Poor Ryan and Chuck. They are crying in their exit. They poor Ryan here. He's telling us that Chuck is the only friend he has, the only one that's ever really been there for him. 2 best friends for life, and they just lost their dream. Man, what a sad time on The Amazing Race. I was heartbroken. What about you, Bruce? Mm-hmm.
For those of you not watching on YouTube, I held up a little heart with my hands and like split it in half. Also, shout out to those of you that were listening in earbuds when I screamed no a minute or so ago. I like loud.
Yes, he does. Ryan and Chuck would have been number one on my likability rankings had they survived this week. They were my absolute favorites of the week.
Yeah.
What do you have anything to say about Ryan and Chuck while we're saying goodbye to them after
I
just
don't
one
want to say goodbye.
just one glorious leg?
I don't wanna.
Ain't nobody run this race
Let's not
in
say
Georgia
goodbye. If we don't acknowledge they were eliminated, then they're still in the race.
until next week when they're not there.
We can just pretend they were there.
Ain't
Fan
nobody
fiction
ran this race with jorts with so much grace
for sure. Let's just pretend they're
as
still in the race every week and make up
Chuck.
placements for them.
Okay,
Make up quotes, just kind of fan fiction recapping.
yeah, there you go.
That would go.
I'll just go find Red from Big Brother 25's quotes from last Big Brother season, and we'll say that Chuck said them all.
I watched like 3 episodes of that season, and he was great. I liked him.
Incredible, and he can sing too. It's wild.
Huh? Wouldn't have guessed that.
I'll have to find the TikTok and show you. Send it to you.
TikTok. Sorry, Kesha had a song when I was in middle school called TikTok that was super catchy.
It's true, and Bruce doesn't actually have real TikTok, which is stupid. But
Vine.
no, it's not.
The rip off of Vine, and Vine was better because it
It's
happened.
not a rip off of Vine. I deny this.
Short little
Anyway,
bit. That was Vine.
what did you think of this episode as a whole?
I think it would have been better if I was watching it on Vine, but it was incredible.
If you were watching it on Vine, it would have been 6 seconds long.
Yeah, a bunch of little 6-second clips. Just
That would be absolutely annoying.
have you met me? I am annoying.
Very true.
Hey,
But seriously, what did you think of this episode?
very fun. I'm going to enjoy it. There's
Yes,
two or three teams that I'm hoping are the next 2 or 3 teams to go home.
which we'll get into here in a minute.
Yeah, so
Hang on.
yeah.
It is a very great. Oh my gosh, I don't like that.
So
It is a very great start to the season. I'm looking forward to recapping Amazing Race season 7 every week. But for you audience members, I asked Bruce to do a little homework. And so we are going to do something that we did last season on our first episode or last
real quick.
first episode. What?
Overall cast, first impressions of this cast. How does as a whole does this cast compare to our last rewatch cast for you? Better?
I prefer the 25 cast.
Same. Other than like one team in this cast. Put Rob and Amber in the 25 cast. That'd be awesome.
I don't know. That would be weird. Seeing Rob and Robbie interacting would be wild.
But that mix of personalities sounds great.
That would be wild.
Rob and Jim would have been fun.
I feel like they would have gotten a fist fight. Why?
Well, I felt something with my foot under my desk, so I like picked it up and handed it to my hand with my foot, and it was some like. Let me pick it back up and show the YouTube audience before we get to our rankings. It's just some little insert from a shoe I had at some point.
And he handed it to his hand with his foot.
I can pick things up with my feet.
Hear that, hear that first here, folks. Bruce Heller is going to be the next member of the circus.
Hear that, ladies? I can pick things up with my feet. That's such a flex. Hit me up.
That's right. He can brush your hair with his feet.
Well, maybe. But which rankings are we doing first?
We're going to do power rankings first, Bruce.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask. So what we did here is we each ranked 1 through 10 the teams that are left with power rankings as to where or how we think they're going to do going into this. And so, Bruce, who do you have at the number 10 spot?
Number 10. I am going to go with, unfortunately, they seem fun. I'm going to go with Ron and Kelly here.
Okay. You want to elaborate?
Well, if there was 10 teams, they would have been last.
But there wasn't 10 teams.
Yeah, it's early on. There's a few that we saw a ton of, but a lot of the teams we didn't see as much of. I'm kind of basing it off the finishing order this first week. Because
That's boring.
as we go throughout, I'll be able to see more and see how they fluctuate or if teams are consistently at the top. But I don't have a ton to go off of this episode.
Well, no, but you can uh, kind of go based on their gameplay and what you expect them to do going forward.
Yeah, you know
Um,
what? Let me change this because I forgot Ryan and Dina exist for a second. They're last.
Ray and Dina.
Yeah, Ray and Dina. That's what I said. They both have an R, an A, and a
Wait,
Y in them.
this is power rankings, not likability. Keep
Yeah,
that in mind.
they're gonna have too much chemistry problems. They're already bickering. They've been on
Okay.
again for 3 years. They're gonna break up again at some point during this race.
Okay. I appreciate that. Number 10 for me was Megan and Heidi. They were basically last to the whole leg up until the end. And I just don't see a world where they go far, I guess.
Yeah, I like them a lot. They seem fun. They have fun nicknames. Other teams have fun nicknames for them. I don't know if they're aware of that or not, but I
Who do you
like
have who do you have at
yeah,
9, Bruce?
them. They,
Before Ron and wait, what about Ron and Kelly?
I think I was too hard on Ron and Kelly. I think they're. I don't think finishing second to last. I think they're a little bit stronger than that.
Okay,
Not
so you
much.
have Megan and Heidi here.
Yeah, they're just. They don't inspire a ton of faith in me yet
Okay.
anymore. More power.
Nobody needs to give you any more power. Number 9 for me was Meredith and Gretchen.
But they're adorable.
They are adorable. I don't think that their bodies are going to hold up when we get to some as we get further along in this race.
Put Meredith and Gretchen on Blood versus Water Survivor.
I mean, Meredith literally fell down and had to have help getting back up in the first leg.
Only the Life Alert commercials would have been a thing back then.
Who's your number 8?
Ron and Kelly.
Okay. Ron and Kelly is also my number 8.
Yeah, we agreed. Woo!
They are fun. I love them. I love their story, but they haven't inspired a lot of confidence in me going forward yet.
Yeah, I love them. I love their story. When she said she was a pageant queen, my mind started playing the song Dancing Queen by ABBA, but instead of dancing said pageant. Pageant.
And sweet only 17.
So I like them because they made me think of that song, but my mind changed the lyrics to fit her. So
Pageant queen.
it works. The syllables work.
Yeah, it works. What about number 7?
We need to get ABBA on our podcast.
Young and sweet, only 17.
I think I'm gonna say the same thing I said about Amy and Maya with 25 on the premiere. I'm putting them here right now, but I see potential in them to go really deep. And that's Uchenna and Joyce. They finished 7th, but they worked together really well. And if they had stuck with the team they were looking for a clue with and been anywhere in the vicinity when they found that clue, they might have finished higher.
Yeah. I like Uchenna and Joyce. I think they are fun. I think they are a good couple. I love the reason that they're there, but none of it has to do with power rankings. I also have them in 7th.
Yeah,
They,
we agree
they,
on 2 in a row.
they had a little bit of a rough start to their race, but they are definitely at a place where they could bounce back. So we'll see what happens. What do you got at 6, Bruce?
Number 6. The power of being adorable can only get you so far. Meredith and Gretchen.
And this is where we don't agree, but I want to mention that there might be some um, more matches in our top five because our top five are the same top five. I don't know what their order wise, but
Yeah.
because my number six is your number 10, Ray and Dina. I think that they are going to have some of those chemistry problems. I think that they have enough time left that they're gonna get through a few more legs before that becomes so apparent and such a problem.
It's already becoming a problem.
It wasn't that much of a problem.
I know, but it's the first episode and he's already fussing at her to suck it up when she can't breathe. It's only going to get worse.
Yeah, but it'll gradually get worse.
I don't trust them. That's all. I don't trust their relationship dynamic to not fall apart at some point.
I agree, but I'm talking about I don't think they're gonna go home next week.
I think they might. I don't know.
Okay. Okay. Who you got at five?
Lynn and Alex. They're strong. I don't know.
Okay.
They, yeah.
Here I got the meatheads, Greg and Brian. Um, I think that they could be good. I think that they have a lot going for them, but they didn't really. To me, they didn't really show a ton of their gameplay. We got some good quotes from them. We got some good moments, but I just don't know out of the if I can put them ahead of any of these next four based on what I've seen so far. Who do you got at four?
But I have Greg and Brian. They finished fourth place here, not to mention they work together well. They seem to get along really well. I have no questions about their team chemistry or ability to work together. And they're just and this doesn't play a part in this rankings, but just while we're on the topic of them, they're just fun and entertaining to watch. Like I smile when they're on my TV.
Mm-hmm. That's fair. And my number four is Lynn and Alex. I think they're really strong. And I don't see them letting up anytime soon. I think that they could make a deep run here. So, but not it. But the top three are kind of undeniable at the moment. If we're being completely honest. So that's where I
Yeah.
put them. Who you got at three?
Susan and Patrick,
Okay.
they won this race, but
No,
I
they didn't.
think well they won this. No, they didn't. They were close. But they finished second, but they're third in my rankings. I think he is too caught up in wanting to whatever story he's concocting in his head or wanting to be a villain or wanting to be responsible for the celebrities of the cast's downfall or disposal. And I think he just gets too caught up in stuff that isn't as important.
Okay.
It's going to cost them. And he's also just really annoying.
That's fair. I have Debbie and Bianca here because I think the other two teams are stronger. I don't think that Debbie and Bianca are going to be able to hold up to where the two teams above them in my rankings are at.
Yeah.
Long second,
Second is Debbie and Bianca. They won this leg, but ultimately, I think my number one team is stronger. But it's close. Debbie and Bianca are a good team, as is Susan and Patrick, as is my number one team. So
yeah. And number two, I have Susan and Patrick here. I think that they are really strong. They got a lot going for them, and they're going to be tough to beat. But I think that means that we have the same team in the number one spot.
yes, Romber.
Rob and Amber. Um, the fact that they were at the like so almost 2 hours behind and still finished in third place, I think that speaks volumes for how they're going to do on this show.
Yeah, for sure. So I think
With
this.
that being said, what?
I'm excited for this.
Yeah, for sure. With that being said, there was a second part to the homework assignment. First was power rankings. The second is our likability rankings. Out of the 10 teams that are left, how do we like each of them?
Yeah, so this is funny. I changed this while we were talking. You and I were talking before we hit record, and I
Yeah.
think I realized one of my opinions on one of the teams was based on not entirely based on this episode alone, so I changed my rankings a little bit.
Okay.
So
That's
my
fair.
my last
Hang on,
place,
hang on.
I don't want to.
First of all, I do want to say if Ryan and Chuck would have been here, they would have been number one in my rankings. That being said, they're not. So they're not here. Bruce, who you got at the 10 spot for your likability rankings?
Ray and Dina. It's mostly because of him, but still.
I knew you were going to put them there.
Yeah, well, that's what I changed from when we were talking earlier.
Gotcha. Well, for me, oh, do you want to say why?
I'm just like we said with him, it's I'm expecting bickering from them, and it's him telling her to suck it up while like the rope is choking her. I'm not a fan of. And then I just so far like the other teams better.
I support that. My number 10 spot goes to Susan and Patrick.
Yeah, they're right there for me too.
Can't stand Patrick. He's a jerk. They lied. I do not like them at all. Not they're not to the point of dislikability as any or there's no team that I dislike as much as there were teams I disliked in the last season we rewatched. But out of this season, they're at the bottom for me for sure.
Patrick annoys me more than Jim did.
Can't relate,
Yeah,
at least yet. What's in your number 9
let me go back to it. I'm making a tea bottle on my phone.
for Mr. T?
Mr. T's tea. Number 9 for me is Susan and Patrick. I don't like Patrick, and I don't dislike Susan, but I don't like her enough to rank them to outweigh him.
That's fair.
Of course it is. I said it.
Shut up. 9 for me is Debbie and Bianca. They were the other half of the let's lie and tell people the wrong one to go to. I don't like it. I'm not there for it, and I don't really care for them, especially because they annoyed me when uh, with the alpacas.
Yeah.
Who you
I
got at 8?
I have Lynn and Alex. I don't know. I just don't vibe with them for whatever reason.
I'm gonna assume
Don't
that's who
like
was at.
it. A few things they said here and there, they just seem kind of catty and mean for some reason. So
That's fair.
kind of mean
Number 8
girls
for
almost. But
what?
I said it's kind of mean girls-ish almost, but without the funny.
I was gonna say you like Mean Girls.
I do, but it's also funny. They're not.
Number 8 for me is Ray and Dina for what you were talking about earlier. Ray telling Dina to suck it up like that. Not a fan. Not a fan. And so that puts them pretty low for me. Who do you get
Yeah.
at 7?
Number 7, I have Debbie and Bianca. I don't like that they lied and tried to sabotage the other team. It's I'm yeah, I don't like that. So, and I
My,
don't like how much they were arguing with each other at the llamas.
that's fair.
So,
You're not gonna like me here. My number 7.
that's okay. I already don't.
Okay, good to know. Is Meredith and Gretchen.
I thought you were gonna say Rob and Amber there for a second. I thought that's why I wasn't gonna like you. No, this one, it's fine. I get.
I think they are adorable. They're cool. She just annoyed me when she said, "God darn it," 85 times in one scene. It just annoyed me.
Yeah, you don't want to cuss, but you're using God's name. So I'm confused about that.
Hmm.
Oh well.
Number six.
Ron and Kelly.
Okay,
I like them. I like their story. I love his story. I just like the other teams better.
that's fair. Number six for me is Megan and Heidi. I think that besides other people calling them funny names, they've been kind of purple.
I like them. They're at my number five.
Okay.
They seem fun. It's I don't know. They're they're missing for sure, but I think I see potential there.
Sure. Okay. For me, the number five goes to Greg and Brian, the Meatheads. I think that they have potential to be like a top three favorite team for me, but they're just not there yet.
Yeah.
Who's your four?
Meredith and Gretchen. They're they're elderly, they're wholesome, they love each other so much, and they're just out here for the experience of a lifetime, and I like that.
Yeah. My number four is another wholesome couple, Uchenna and Joyce.
Yes.
Um, I really like their story. I really like what they're about. It makes you want to root for them. So they're at my number four. Three.
Uchenna and Joyce for me.
Okay.
And I want to root for them. They're fun. You can tell how much they love each other, so that's fun. And so I want them to go really far.
Yeah. My number three is somebody you had really low, and that was Lynn and Alex. I just think that the things that you don't like are things that make me kind of laugh about them.
Yeah,
So
that's
I
fair.
don't know. Yeah. I think I can assume where your number two's going, but
Well,
go for it.
number two's go in the toilet.
Shut up. Who's your number two?
I am Brian and Greg. They're fun. Like you said, you learn partway through the episodes that they're not geniuses. They're just kind of meatheads sometimes. But that's fun. I like them. And they're entertaining and they get along really well. They seem to have a great chemistry. So, yeah,
My number two team is Ron and Kelly. They
nice.
they finished really low in this episode, but this is about likability, and I absolutely, with all my heart, love their story. Love the fact that he was a prisoner of war for 20. I don't love that he was a prisoner of war. I love that that's what he stands for. Is this whole disabled veterans thing, and I just love them. I love what they're about, and I want to see them go far. And once again, we have the same number one.
Romber.
As Survivor fans first, how can we go anywhere else but Robin Amber as our number one in the likability rankings?
Yeah. So, this is fun. They're fun. This is going to be a really fun rewatch.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to seeing more of these teams on our screen. This has been an absolute blast today, Bruce. And what the heck does that look for?
Sorry, I wanted to see if I can make you think I was frozen.
Joke's on you. I really enjoyed this one. It was great. Looking forward to more season seven. And with all of that being said, everybody, the world is waiting for you. Good luck.
Travel safe. Go!
Go.
Let me stop recording.
That's kind of important.